anticipate kind of the marriage going, and what are the kind of the keys that you think will help the RPO game work here at Iowa with what you have?
You know, it's kind of funny. My first blush was crossover film through the years. You watch people, and first thing I think of is 12 personnel actually with them. They ran the ball extremely well, and to that point, what you said is correct as well. And I think that's really the key component here. He's got a real diverse background. He's experienced in a lot of different areas, as were many of the candidates, and that's attractive. Last year, being in Green Bay, being on the defensive side, yet part of his response, I don't want to speak for him, but part of his job is to analyze the offense that Green Bay would face each and every week. So he basically, forget about the preseason, but got to study however many that is. They play 17 in the NFL now, 17.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be 16, 17 playoff game, 2 playoff games. So it's like a year of research, and I've always joked about like it'd be great to have a sabbatical, like professors go research, study. The bad news is it usually means you got fired the year before when you get to do that in our business. But I think it was just a wonderful opportunity and really put it to good use. So, long story short, I think he's got a real extensive knowledge of offensive football. And the most important thing in any year is knowing who your players are, where their strengths and weaknesses are, and then trying to get them in the right spot. And that came across clear during the conversation portion of things over time. Offense is all about figuring out who we're going to get the ball to, and then working from there. And hopefully, we'll have a couple of people to get the ball to, not just one or two.
Hey, Kirk. Chad likes to go to Des Moines Register. I'm sure, as you studied Tim's background at Syracuse, Western Michigan, even the Packers, I guess I'm just curious where you landed in terms of where his potential was offensively and what you liked about his track record, at all his stops.
Yeah, I think I've looked more at the last 6, 7, 8 years probably. Purdue on, with all due respect to Syracuse at that time. Because I don't read a lot of feedback, but I did read somebody, took a shot at that one. My first thought was, okay, if you evaluated my career at Maine, I probably wouldn't still be standing here. I never would have been standing here. I would have probably on over 12 and 21 career record at Maine. So, you can go back, and I think you have to, quantify and qualify everything you look at. It's like our team last year. I think there are pretty obvious reasons why we struggled offensively. It really doesn't take a detective to figure that out. So, what I've looked at and focused more so, the job he did with David Blau at Purdue, and then the entire body of work at Western Michigan. You consider the MAC schools, they typically play at least 2 games that are, you're fighting, you're swimming uphill, upstream. And look at some of the wins that they had and some things they did, beating Pitt in 21. There's some really impressive things there, but more it's about the big picture. And then last year's experience is really factored into, you try to resume examine the entire resume, try to talk to a lot of people that have worked with him, know him and pretty intimately, and then project, is this candidate going to be a good fit? And felt really good about it, the work I did on the front end, and then certainly with our staff getting involved, and everybody gets involved in the interview process, making phone calls, all that type of thing. So it's pretty thorough, pretty extensive, and because of that, I feel really good about where we're at.
Kirk, Tom Taker from the Report. Wanted to ask you about the wide receiver position. Remember when Greg Davis got hired, you brought Bobby Kennedy in with him. Is that something you would consider doing with Tim, or have you kind of maybe settled, or do you have a direction where you're going right now?
I think we're on a good path, but there's no mystery. I mean, every position is not the same, but it is the same in that. It's a fresh beginning for everybody right now. We're fairly young in that room in a lot of ways. We're fairly inexperienced in terms of production, that type of thing, but I think there's a lot of potential there. And ultimately, you want to get somebody who can, just like Tim said a minute ago, build relationships, be good teachers, and most importantly, a coach's job is to help players become better. If it was pro football, it'd be all about becoming better players. College football, there's a lot more to it. Seeing the big picture, student character, citizenship, all those types of things, as well as being good players. But I've given a lot of thought to the guys in the room. I think we have good potential right now, and really, it's about moving those guys forward, seeing the potential, and also getting them to see the potential. I think that's probably the most important thing right now.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. Kirk, when I guess you got to the point of the interview process where you were interacting with Tim, on a face-to-face, more kind of personal basis, just what, I guess struck you and made you feel like that relationship could be one that could work really well?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And Tim's situation was a little bit unique, but there were a couple, 3, maybe 4 people that worked with him that I really trust and value their opinions, and I know a couple of them have personal connections to this program. One person in particular, we have a past relationship. He was a player, 100 years ago for me, that worked with him for quite, So when you talk to those people and they know what we're about and they know what he's about, it's really reassuring because, a huge part of anything we do, and we all spend more time with each other than we do our wives and families. The first thing is, you want to bring somebody in the building who it's not going to be like everybody else, but, is going to share some common goals and realize this thing's bigger than any one of us individually. And that came across real clearly. And then, when you really get into the personal part of it and the personal interaction, the staff interaction, then hopefully that comes across to everybody and everybody feels the same way. And I think, again, I feel really good about, how our staff felt about Tim and their exposure to him and the things they learned too when they did their homework and research. But this was a group effort for everybody to be involved. I think is important, and for everybody to maybe not be unanimous on the vote necessarily, but everybody saying, yeah, you can really see this guy being, really successful with us, and then, letting them go to work.